Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We are coming to you live from the Indigo Hotel here in beautiful downtown or college town, Tallahassee. You can't really see it behind me because it's blown out, but the beautiful Joe Campbell Stadium and all its brick wonder is behind us, where they won actually one game last year. But the site of many of my most fondest memories as a sportscaster and a student here at Florida State University. We are here for a reunion, a media reunion. We'll tell you all about that in just a bit. Welcome in my good friend Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Hope you're doing well up there in Tallahassee. And as we edge closer to the Florida State season, I understand you're going to get a great look at some of the renovations
Yes.
that are sort of finishing up before Alabama rolls in for week one.
God, this place is going to be bananas for Alabama. Bananas.
It's going to be hot.
And, talk about an opening litmus test of, what what the Florida State season is going to be about. It's going to be very interesting. And talking to a bunch of the guys here last night, and we'll hope to have a few of them stop by this morning, sit right here next to me. Yeah, you can put up that other one shot if you want. And we'll have some guests. Rob Wilson is here, FSU SID, and a host of writers, Jerry Kutz from the Osceola Rivals Network on 3. Is Rivals on 3, or are you guys Rivals with on 3?
There's a merge sort of happening, but don't ask me for the specifics.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like everybody's coming together. But anyway, Jerry, who knows this program inside and out, will hopefully stop by and we'll talk about spring football and all the different transfer portal guys that have come in here. So we'll get a good look at the FSU team. We're going to get a good look at the renovations today. We'll be we're giving us a tour of all the new stuff. Some of the premium seating that they put in here. I was hearing some of the prices that they're charging for the premium seating. Coming off a 2-10 year, this is not the time to be asking $8 million.
They gotta raise money for an eventual, potential buyout. JP, you know how it goes.
The buyout is coming. Is that from Mike Norvell? Well, it wouldn't shock me. And we'll see how this season goes. Look, there's a lot of pressure on him. There's no question about it. It's one of those things. Is like you don't go 13-0 without doing something right. You don't go 2-10 without doing something really wrong. So it's a double-edged sword. And I think absolutely with great reasons. His job is very much up on the line. I don't know about this year. I don't think anything's happening this year. But I would say. If things don't go well this year, if they don't win at least 8 games, then I think he's very much the following season will be on the chopping block. But we're going to get to all the Rays stuff, guys, here in just a minute, and then we'll talk some FSU football as warranted. And I just want to real quickly, though, say what we're doing here is it's basically a reunion of a lot of the folks that covered the team in the 90s and the early aughts, the glory years for Florida State, late 80s, early 90s, when Coach Bowden was here and this program was really humming. I mean, it was the best program over a 14-year span in the history of college football. Nobody has ever finished in the top 5 14 straight years. I don't know if that'll ever be duplicated, to be quite honest. So it was the golden age. And, it was interesting. We were talking about this because some of you may know some of these names. David Whitley, Bill Valona. These are all writers and columnists that were living in Tallahassee covering Florida State. So back in the day, every major newspaper in Florida had a beat writer covering Florida State sports here. Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, not just Florida State, but Florida, all the major papers covering your favorite team, and everybody had a beat writer at these. And those were the days where you really found all the stories, and you got tons of content, tons of stories on all these players. And it was a golden age of not only of journalism, but for Florida State football. Bob Herrig was, who's obviously become the great golf writer and author, was covering this beat for the St. Pete Times. He was the writer. We all worked really closely. Jim Henry, the Tallahassee Democrat, Gene Fournette, Jacksonville, Tom Block, of course, our sideline reporter. All these guys, these great writers that covered this team for so long, and that you just get such wonderfully written stories that just really don't have anymore. For the most part, columnists are kind of they're now mostly on radio and or doing podcasts and live streams. But the great writers of the day that wrote back, covered college football, the heyday of, we're talking about Tom McEwen's, Pope, Edwin Pope down in the Miami Herald. Some of you may remember some of these names. And the ones we had, Martin Fennelly, may he rest in peace. Some of the great writers that we've had, Hubert Meisel of the St. Pete Times, all these guys were up here all the time. And this is kind of a reunion for that time, and all the stories are flowing. So it's a little, I know a little selfish nostalgia here for myself. But hopefully some of these stories that we'll share today you will enjoy going back in the past, and we'll probably talk a lot about Coach Bobby Bowden. But let's get to the Rays, shall we? And because my partner here, Nick, has been chomping at the bit since the news came down. Was it Thursday? Was it Thursday that they sent Chandler Simpson?
It was Friday.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Because it was after our show. I'm just going to give you the floor first. I did a video over the weekend that made the rounds, so to speak. So let me give you the floor first for your take on Chandler Simpson going down.
Yeah, right after Topkin reported this, that Chandler Simpson was going down and Jake Mangum was coming up, I immediately put out a Twitter post saying that this was a bizarre move. And I pointed out that Chandler Simpson has swiped 19 bags this season, and he didn't even come up till like 20 or 21 games into the season, by the way, and was still second in Major League Baseball in steals, hitting 285. The average was actually, I think, over 300 over his last 16 games before he would sit down. And I said, I just don't get it. And what I should have said is, I get why the Rays are doing this. I get their explanations in theory, right? Christopher Morel has no options. Cameron Meisner, even though he's cooled off considerably at the plate, has been a plus defender for you in center field. Jake Mangum, when he was up, was a similar type of spark plug, like a Chandler Simpson, and became a fan favorite. And I have no problem with Jake Mangum coming up. Let me put that out there right now. This is not against Jake Mangum. And by the way, this weekend, he proved why he deserves to be up with the big league club. My issue is the Christopher Morel part of this. He's got no options. I understand. You traded an all-star third baseman because you really loved Christopher Morel and you were trying to get him for years, and that's fine and dandy. But Christopher Morel has been with the Rays now for 95 games. 95 games. What have you seen in those 95 games that tells you that this is a good baseball player? I understand that if you want to cut ties with them, you have to DFA him, and that opens up the possibility that some team can pick him up and try to fix him. Let them. Like,
good luck with that.
At this point, I don't care what he does in another uniform. I care about what he's doing in a Rays uniform. What is he doing to help you win baseball games? The answer is nothing. The answer is absolutely nothing. Oh, he's supposed to hit for power. Really?
He's hurting you. He's hurting you by being in the lineup.
333 at-bats with the Rays. 6. I heard Eric Neander talk about, well, Chandler Simpson's just not putting the ball in play enough. He's just ultimately not doing this enough. Oh, really? Last time I checked, I can look at numbers. Christopher Morel has 11 RBIs this year for the Rays. How many do you think Chandler Simpson has, JP?
11.
11, correct. And 5 less at bats.
And he hasn't been
RBIs.
batting in the 3, 4, and 5 hole like Christopher Morel has.
Exactly. So I put that tweet out there, and I had a lot of Rays fans who were sort of agree with me, but I had a lot come in, and I just want to know something. All I heard, we were talking in spring training. Well, who are we talking about the most? We were talking about Chandler Simpson, to the point where some people were going, oh, maybe he deserves a spot on the opening day roster. Whatever, it didn't happen. He comes up because of injuries. And I have all these Rays fans who are throwing all these stats in my face. They're throwing all these behind the backdoor type of numbers in my face, trying to justify why Chandler Simpson shouldn't be on the Major League roster. And it's like, no crap, he doesn't have those numbers. Those numbers are never going to favor a player with his skill set. You can't quantify.
You mean his defensive numbers?
Not just the defensive numbers, but some of the stuff at the plate that they mentioned. Oh, he's got no pop, and he doesn't put the ball in the gap. Yeah, no crap. We know that's not Chandler Simpson's role. We know that. But he has a very unique skill set that no one, and I mean no one in Major League Baseball, not the Rays, Major League Baseball has. When the guy gets on base, he is a threat to steal second. He's a threat to steal third. And as we saw on Thursday, his last game with the Rays, get on base, steal second, steal third, force a bad throw, and produce a run all on his own. That is
without the ball being put in play. Without a ball being put in play. Show me another player in the league that has done that this year.
Exactly. MLB has loved this guy. They've had him all over highlight reels and everything on social media. Everybody wants to watch Chandler Simpson play baseball because he's the fastest man in baseball. He is a lightning rod for this team. He is a game changer for the skill set that he has. And last time I checked, the Rays were 21-16 with him. They were 8-12 before he came up. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. So spare me with all these arguments for why, Chandler Simpson doesn't do this and doesn't do that. Well, I know what he can do. Show me what Christopher Morel does. And again, the answer is nothing. So I don't care. You want to cut bait with the guy? I mean, go right ahead. Pull the Band-Aid off. You made a mistake. It hasn't worked out to this point. Let somebody else fix him. And I started thinking, it's like, if Jason Licht makes a mistake, which he's made plenty, not as many recently, but when he makes a mistake, you know what he does? He says, all right, you're done.
Screwed up. Yep.
You're done.
Bye-bye.
I screwed up. Goodbye. Julian Breezeball, when he trades 4 or 5 draft picks for Tanner Jeannot, 77 games. It's not a fit.
It's not working.
Not working out. Tanner,
it's not working.
Bye-bye. You got to go.
Because there's a sense of urgency with those franchises. There's a sense of urgency, and this is exhibit A why there's no sense of urgency with the Rays. And people say, "Oh, well, listen, they've been hurt, and they're game over 500." It's like, yeah, you should be 10 games over 500 if you weren't wasting time with Christopher Morel and somebody wasting time bringing Chandler Simpson should have made the team coming out of spring training. I mean, he showed you what he can do. He's not a kid. He's not some kid that you just drafted at 18 years old. He's 24 years old. He's played a lot of baseball, and he has a skill set that nobody else has. And for this team to say, we're going to, and I heard Neander's interview as well with Tom Krasnicki on 620. We give credit on this show when we hear things. They did a great interview with him. And Neander, and kudos to Eric Neander, by the way, for going on. When the fan base is in a tizzy, that kudos for him for doing that. Wish he would come on this show, but that's not going to happen. So we'll invite him though. You're always invited, Eric. Come on now. We'd love to talk baseball with you. We hugely support the baseball side. They're doing a great job. Right. And listen, was this a bad trade? Absolutely, 100%. It was a terrible trade. And like you said, they had their eye on Morel for a long time. But as I've said many times, Neander goes into this with 2 hands tied behind his back. He's got to if he thinks he has to trade Paredes because he's at the height of his value and people are going to catch up with him because all he does is hit bombs to left field. Okay, at least you got to put some trust in their baseball acuity that they've done a great job. They missed on this one because Paredes is just he's an anomaly. He just can do what he does. And he does it really, really well.
And if the argument there, by the way, is like, okay, you opened up a spot for Junior Caminero to play third base.
Right.
You didn't think Paredes could play first. Jonathan Aranda, who might be an all-star, is playing first base. So, like, at the end of the day, you could say that worked out well for the Rays. But the trade itself, and everybody loves to say, well, it wasn't just Christopher Morel. It was Hunter Biggie. And I don't care about Hunter. I mean, Hunter Biggie is fine. He's a fine reliever. I'm not trying to despair. I'm really not trying to throw dirt on him. But the main part of that trade was Christopher Morel. And that's the part that's not working out. That's the part that I care about. And I have to question, how much confidence do they even have in Chris Morel? Because if you haven't noticed, while the Rays have been winning games and getting themselves back into the playoff hunt to where before this series started, they were a game out of the final wild card spot. second place in the AL East behind the New York Yankees. Christopher Morel wasn't playing.
That's right.
Like, he was barely playing. Like, Chandler Simpson was playing
because he's a huge
almost
liability.
every day. And it was to the point yesterday, GP, in a 1-0 game. It's 1-0 in the ninth inning. And here comes Josh Hader. Josh Hader is a fantastic closer. We know that, okay? But Taylor Walls had pinch ran for Jonathan Aranda late in that ball game yesterday.
Right.
And of course, as it shows, Taylor Walls then has to hit in the ninth inning.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lefty on the mound.
Yeah.
If they had any belief in Christopher Morel,
right,
why didn't they pinch hit Taylor Walls?
Yeah.
For Christopher Morel in that spot, if you had confidence that at any one swing could change the ball game yesterday, they didn't do that. The only reason why Christopher Morel had to come in and eventually face Josh Hader was because of the stuff that happened, and the umpire was on a power trip and decided to eject Taylor Walls, which I'm sure we'll get into that because that has a whole story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But then now Christopher Morel comes up, and what does he do? He gives two of the worst swings I have ever seen in my life. Like, non-competitive. It's like, I don't know what we're doing here. I want to put the best 26 on the field. And you cannot convince me that Chandler Simpson is not one of the best 26 on this roster. He was helping you win baseball games, and he does, and one other player does not. But yet again, it's just so funny to me. I have so many Rays fans who were like in my mentions, and I saw them all over Twitter this weekend, and it's like they're justifying this, and it's like I had someone say, oh, well, Chandler Simpson's terrible at baseball.
Oh, my God.
What are you watching? And it's like, first of all, y'all tweet about this guy every single game because he does something so cool every single game. But then when he gets sent down, it's like, oh, well, he wasn't really that good, guys. He wasn't really that good. Like, where did this come from? All of a sudden, Chandler Simpson can't play baseball, but you've been tweeting about him and falling all over him for the last month and a half. So which one is it? Are you just holding the Rays water like they're just above criticism? They're a damn good front office, and we give credit to them when they do great things. But this is not a good move.
This Max is trying to justify the trade for Morel. And that's the only thing. That's the only thing it is. And you can say, well, Chandler Simpson needs to go down and work on his defense. First of all, if he's going to play outfield at the major league level, he needs to be playing in the major leagues and learning the sight lines and the lights and everything else of these major league ballparks, because that's how you learn to get great jumps. And you learn the idiosyncrasies of Fenway Park and this Astros park as well. All these different outfields that you have to learn. You're not going to learn that at Durham. And so working on his defense, he can do that at the major league level. Not that Morel is a great defender. I don't think. And by the way, all these defensive analytics, a lot of them are subjective. And I've watched Chandler Simpson play outfield. I can't remember, with the exception of maybe two plays, that I can remember where he didn't get a great jump or he did something where I'm saying, you know what, he could have done that better. But he'll learn. He's got a great skill set. He will learn to get on base. I mean, going down to Durham, you got to work on your on base percentage. You can't do that at the major league level, where you actually where you're going to have to, it's a different strike zone. There's different pitchers. And it's not like we have this overwhelming, look, Meisner, Mangum, they've played some good baseball. There's no question about it, but they're not all stars. They're not all stars. And they're going to have their ups and downs, which we've already seen. Hot starts, and then dry periods. So listen, to me, it's about Morel. And it's about Chandler Simpson, and it's about trying to justify that trade. And I don't care how long he stays on this roster. He's not going to get hot and increase his trade value. You just look at the way the kid plays. He's a nice young man. Christopher Morel is a very nice young man. I understand he's a very hard worker, and he's mentored Caminero.
I understand. That's what I was going to say. Like, I understand. I understand he's very good friends with Caminero.
You got to be able to play the game of baseball. That's your primary job, and he can't play. And you can say, yeah, they scored 16 runs on Saturday, and they did. Okay, but how many did they score on Friday? You think they could have used Chandler Simpson to get on base and manufacture a run on Friday? Yeah, that would have helped when they lose 2-1. How about yesterday when Taj Bradley pitches a freaking gem, 10 strikeouts? He was unhittable, and you're off
his uniform, baby.
Yeah. You can't scratch out a run. Would have been helped to have Chandler Simpson in that situation? Hell yeah, it would. A guy that can manufacture run, put pressure. And the thing is, it's just not about Chandler Simpson's numbers. He affects the entire lineup. When he's on base, distracting a pitcher, getting more fastballs for these guys to hit. His effect
on the opposing defenders and opposing pitchers.
Right. It's not just so you look at it, like to your point, they win games when Chandler Simpson plays. They win games. They lose games when Christopher Morel plays. I think we're 15-19 when he plays. So when he starts. So I don't get it. Nobody gets it. I understand what Neander's saying. These are all nice things. Oh, he can work on these. He won't be playing a lot at the major league level. Why not? This kid, to me, should be playing every day and be at the top of your lineup or in the 9-hole every single day because of the way he affects the entire game, not just his individual stats that people want to look at. And if you look at those stats, they're across the board 10 times better than Christopher Morel. Like, it's not even close. If you want to do apples to apples, and then if you want to say how does he affect the game as a whole, no question that he makes the entire lineup better by his distraction on the base pass. We've seen it. So it's one of the and not that this should be a huge part of it. And in evaluating trades and things, you shouldn't be thinking about the fans, right? But this team never thinks about the fans. And this is a guy that has created so much excitement. At some point, it is entertainment. It is entertainment. And unless you have a clear-cut decision that you're making that is clearly, from a baseball standpoint, way better, which is not. It's just the opposite of that. Then you can't make this move. Pisses off the fans, pisses off. And by the way, I talked to a guy who played in the leagues for 10 years who texted me, was like, damn, can you believe they sent Chandler Simpson down? I said, so I called him. I said, what kind of effect do you think that has on the club, inside the clubhouse? He goes, oh, definitely. Guys are like, what the F are we doing? They lose confidence and they understand what this subtext is about Christopher Morel. And they're like, we're trying to win games here. And this is not helping us win games. You're taking away a weapon. So it affects the clubhouse as well. And I don't care how good your chemistry is, when guys get sent away that are helping you win and you keep other guys start rolling their eyes. And it creates ill will in the clubhouse. So there's a lot of stuff that happens when you
I just don't understand. It's like, again, like the Rays a month ago, we were looking at them going, middle of the road baseball team, maybe even below average, nothing to write home. It's going to be a long summer trying to watch this team play baseball and try to score runs. And then all of a sudden something flipped, and it's not just Chandler Simpson. I don't want to say that all the success is him. I mean, clearly there are other guys in this lineup who have started to pull their weight.
Caminero.
Caminero being one of them. And Josh Lowe coming back from injury. Look at how much he's raised the floor of that lineup. And there's some Ha-Seong Kim now just went on his he had his first AAA game yesterday, I believe. So he'll be here in no time. But also then people will go, well, we'll see Chandler Simpson again. He'll be here soon. Will he? Because the Rays just told me by their actions that Cameron Meisner is ahead of Chandler Simpson in their mind. Jake Mangum is ahead of Chandler Simpson in their mind. And Johnny DeLuca is also hurt right now. I know he had a little bit of a setback, but he's eligible to come off the IL, I believe, maybe next week or even this week. We'll see what happens there. I have to think Johnny DeLuca is ahead of Chandler Simpson in the pecking order. And even Richie Palacios, who's hurt, is probably ahead of Chandler Simpson in the pecking order. So when are we going to see Chandler Simpson again? This doesn't seem like it's going to be something, he's going to be there for a week or two and he'll be, I don't think so. I don't know when you're going to see Chandler Simpson again. So I don't really necessarily understand that argument. And then people also have brought up, well, he never played AAA. He went straight to AA and then was in AAA for a little bit and came up. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I got to see him at the major league level, and what I saw from him, I liked, and I think he acquitted himself very nicely to the clubhouse and on that roster.
Huge situations against very tough pitchers. We've seen this. This guy, can you really look at him and what he did, hitting 285 overall and stealing 19 bags and say, oh, he's not ready for the major leagues. Are you out of your freaking mind?
And by the way, it's not like he's only struck out 14 times. Only struck out 14 times in 133 at-bats. So that tells me at the very least he's getting the bat on the ball. And, maybe you want to – like, I don't know what – I just don't know what you're asking out of this guy. Like, we all know he's not going to be a big bopper. Like, he is in many ways this generation's Juan Pierre. And last time I checked, Juan Pierre was a major part of a championship-winning team in 2003 with the Florida Marlins and had a 15-year career. Were we having discussions back then about, Juan Pierre doesn't hit home runs. He doesn't hit the ball in the gap, so we have to send him down. No, that wasn't a thing.
Anybody who's talking about that does not understand baseball. As Kenneth McCleary says here, with Chandler Simpson, how many of the great managers of the past would have had that man in the leadoff spot? What do you think Sparky Anderson, Billy Martin, and Gene Mauch and others would have had him leading off? Of course they would. It's one of the things that bugs me about analytics is the fact that they don't the speed and the on-base guys who are stealing bags and creating. And you listen to pitchers talk about guys who are on base and how it bothers them. You listen to other hitters talk about when you get a guy on in front of you like a Chandler Simpson, how much less focused the pitcher is on the batter. It's such a huge advantage. I don't know, where's the analytics on that? Where's the analytics on that? You can't measure that in a number. All right. And that's what Chandler said. The number you can measure, do they win when he plays? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. At a better clip than than he doesn't play. That's all I need to know. And I can see it with my eyes when I watch him play. All right, so let's move on to something else. And we do need to mention Caminero, who was absolutely on fire. 13 RBIs in the last 5 days.
He had 13 RBIs in an 18 at-bat span.
Is that good?
Well, pretty good. He had more RBIs this weekend than 13 teams had runs.
How about that? And he's also got the fastest bat in baseball, just from a velocity standpoint. I mean, this kid is just – and, yes, that's one of the reasons you had to trade – you didn't have to trade Palacios. I think you could have figured out a way to get him at first base, DH. Paredes. You could have figured that out. You don't give up on a bat like that, in my opinion, especially to go get a guy like Morel, who's been a huge disappointment. All right, other things to talk about from this weekend. Yes, Taylor Wall's veins were popping out of his head. If you saw this yesterday in a gross display of umpiring, once again, the pitch that Hader throws, that's down and away, clearly a ball, and Taylor Wall steps out and, did he tap his helmet? And actually, like back where we were spring training and asking for a review? Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did it. Should that be cause to throw him out of the game? Absolutely not. 100% not, and especially not in that situation. If that's just an umpire overreaching who misses a call and doesn't want to get shown up by the batter, just take your ego, stuff it away. You screwed up the call, let the guy vent a little bit, and then move on with the game. That's the way it should work. But no, some of these umpires, they got to be the show. They got to come out in front, look up, and say, you're out of the game for arguing balls and strikes. I mean, just come on. I thought we were over this. This is what's going to bring us robotic umps, idiots like this, and doing stupid stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's like they're threatened by it. It's honestly like they're threatened by the fact that the ABS system is coming sooner rather than later. But even like the whole sequence, like you couldn't even tell that he threw Taylor Walls out of the baseball game. Like he did it so like nonchalant. Like what did he do? Just point up or something like that? Yeah. Like he kind
of tapped his helmet and looked up, like in spring training when they were, doing reviewing calls. He's like, "Can I review that?" Just being a smartass. No, you can't. They're not doing that in the regular season. You can't do that. So, absolutely, it's something that umpires need to just move on. And just let it go when you screw up a call. A couple other things from this weekend. We mentioned Taj Bradley, who was absolutely fantastic. 10 strikeouts yesterday, some of the best stuff I've seen him have. And that's, we got to remember with Taj, he's still a really, really young player. And he's going to, when he kind of gets a hold of his emotions and can, when things go wrong, really lock in and get back to, making the pitch that he needs to make, he's going to be a great pitcher. His stuff is outstanding, and we saw that yesterday. We mentioned Junior Caminero. A couple off the field things. I think. By the way, I think we lost Nick for a second here. We'll get him back in a second. A couple off the field things I know you guys want to talk about. The Rays had this pre-construction yard sale at the Trop this weekend. I don't know what the hell pre-construction we're talking about here. We're talking about rebuilding the roof, pre-construction on the Trop. I mean, we haven't really even, the city will look at that this week and try to decide how much money they're going to spend on the Trop. It's a whole nother discussion, by the way. Are they actually going to do this? We shall see. And by the way, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They're being forced to do it by the Rays, who obviously have other options at this point. I don't know if you saw that, but the mayor, Jane Castor, was speaking on Friday in Tampa, and someone it just kind of actually unannounced, she said this about the Rays. She said the Rays are going to have new owners, and we're going to be ready for them to call when they want to build a stadium in Tampa. So she knows what I know. She knows what many of us know, and what I've told you, that this there is due diligence when it comes to a sale. All right, they put you the thing called a data room, where you go in this room and it's closed off, it's confidential, where just the people that are working on a sale the accountants are able to go in there and look at the numbers. Now, you can only imagine what that's like when you're dealing with Stu Sternberg and the Rays. You go back and look at the lawsuit, how he absolutely abdicated and fraudulently, according to the lawsuit, abdicated his fiduciary responsibilities to his partners, screwed him over allegedly, so much so that he had to settle the lawsuit with a huge number. So those. Can you imagine if you're in this data room and seeing all this stuff that you have to trust and verify? That is absolutely crucial to what the purchase price of this is going to be. All these numbers and details. It's a laborious thing. And if I'm trying to buy this team, I don't trust Stu Sternberg in these numbers whatsoever. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth on verifications of this numbers. Point is, this stuff is going to take time, and also he's at the same time likely negotiating with the city to have some type of settlement so the city doesn't have to rebuild Tropicana Field. The city does not want to do that. They've said that. So we don't have to. We don't want to. We have to contractually. They don't want to deal with the Rays. They don't want to deal with this. They want to move on and develop the site and make a hell of a lot more money and do a lot more good than a baseball stadium would on that site. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes now, but I think that's another crumb from the mayor that tells you that things are going on behind the scenes, that there are owners that want to buy this team, prospective owners that want to buy this team, that have the money to do so, and are working on a stadium solution in Tampa, and may have already found their spot and are well working towards what they're going to get done in the stadium area. So again, all this noise and, the column that Romano wrote about Orlando, I thought, he was spot on in the fact that as much noise as Orlando was making, this is stuff that we talked about. And this is nothing, I'm not trying to be rude to the fans of Orlando. They want baseball. It's awesome. They're very enthusiastic about it. They don't need to be taking shots at Tampa Bay, but they do. But whatever. The thing is, they have no public money that has been allocated to this. They have a site, but it's owned by the city or Orange County, and they have not said, yeah, we're going to give it to you. They said, we need to see the numbers. So there's no rush from public officials to give away this land. And how are they going to pay for it? Where's the public dollars? None of that has been allocated or even presented to the Orange County board. You have one guy who says he's got $1.5 billion to buy the team, which isn't even enough to buy the team. You have John Morgan talking. So all this stuff, like I've told you, it's a bunch of noise, and it means nothing except they're trying to get their ducks in a row to get an expansion team if the Rays were to move, and that's not going to happen, or go after the Rays. And I don't see Major League Baseball, as much as they've committed to the Tampa Bay area, as many times as Manfred has said this, the fact that he told the players there's a solution in Tampa Bay, I don't see it ever going to Orlando. But, people are going bananas about this, and articles are written and all this thing. It's just noise at this point. And until they do something concrete like Portland or some of these other places have done, where they've actually allocated money for an expansion team and have a site and a design and money that has been allocated to it by the public officials, there's really nothing there. So I wanted to deal with that too, because we got a lot of questions on that over the weekend. And I mentioned the sale, the pre-construction sale. So evidently, the Rays, there's so many people pissed off about this. And once again, thousands of Rays fans show up to something and it's poorly run, and they end up pissing off the fans because they didn't staff it enough. They let the early people come in there and take literally moving boxes worth of bobbleheads and hats and shirts. They were supposed to be limited to one bag, $20. You get one bag, as much as you can in the bag, which was a really cool thing for the Rays to do. But they didn't staff it. They didn't have any security there. They didn't have anybody that was, enforcing that. So the greedy people went nuts and took all the stuff. And most of the people that lined up in the heat and in the rain got squat. And you just wonder, why does this always happen to the Rays? Why do these, the Lightning and the Bucks do this stuff all the time? They don't have these issues. The fans leave, everybody's happy. But every time the Rays do something like this and they try to do it on the cheap, and I'm not, listen, like the guy on Twitter, our friend Justin, was coming at me like, my one of my family members works for the Rays and they were there and they were working hard and you're disparaging. No, I'm not disparaging the hardworking people and the staff who were once again put in a horrible position by ownership and management because they didn't staff it well enough or enforce the rules. Those people don't get paid enough. They're probably unpaid interns for most of them. But they don't get paid enough to be enforcing this stuff. You need to have security. You need to have people. You know what people are going to do. They're going to try to be greedy. You got to enforce this stuff and make sure everybody comes through the line. It's just, run your events well, staff them well, and things like this don't happen. But of course, with the Rays, it turns into be.
It's not even surprising. Like, you just expect that something bad is going to happen at these events. And it just is sort of funny to me. It's like you have this line of thousands of people who, the event was basically less than an hour, which certainly was not the plan. And it's like, oh, well, here's your free hot dog vouchers for those of you who have lined up.
You're driving down from Tallahassee for nothing.
Yeah, go get your free hot dog, and now wait, by the way, don't just get your free hot dog, but wait in this other line to go get your free hot dog. Like, it was just, I don't know. It just sort of made me laugh. And, but yeah, I mean, it's like, so much about what the Rays do, like with off the field stuff, it's always dysfunctional. It just always is. And they just cannot get out of their own way. But if you combine that with the Chandler Simpson backlash and all the other stuff, it's like always like one step forward, two steps back. Yep. And when it comes to like building goodwill with your franchise, like it feels like it's such a struggle for this franchise to build goodwill with this franchise. Or with these fans, rather. It's such a struggle. In
a week, you had that debacle, where all these fans come out and get screwed over. And you have the Chandler Simpson thing. And all the while, the team's playing some pretty good baseball. And you want to sit there and talk about the team and the baseball, but they never let you. They never let you.
Friday, that's all we were talking about. It was like, wow, the Rays are really playing some good baseball. And like, I do want to spend more time today and talk about, the good things they're doing because they absolutely deserve it. But it's just there's always something that happens. Like I said, there is a cloud hanging over this franchise constantly. Yeah. There is just a cloud hanging, and we know who it is. We know what it is. And until that cloud goes away, we'll never have the great vibes of this franchise back again.
I want to talk about some of the other parts of that and talk about the baseball team too. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. I believe we're going to have some guests here as well. And we'll get into some of that chat as well. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you're involved in an accident, you got to call them. They will take care of you. Everything you need, JeevesLawGroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com and OnSiteConstructionFL.com. They do new construction. They'll do a restoration of your home. If you had the contractor come in and screw things up from the hurricane, let the good folks from On-Site Construction come in and fix it for you. OnSiteConstructionFL.com is the website. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. We'll be back at 3 live in Tallahassee. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you It's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucks and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're coming to you live from Tallahassee. You can't really see it behind me because it's kind of blown out. We do have and bringing back great memories of when FSU used to be great. What's up, Dano? You want to sit down for a second? Dan Pearson joining us right here, former assistant SID at Florida State University. Here, pop that. Pick up that mic right there, partner. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Hit that two-shot, Nick, if you can. The magical two-shot. How are you?
Doing great, Jim. How are you
doing? Put that up closer.
Okay. Yeah. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
We're good. Thank you for joining the JP Peterson Show here live from Tallahassee. We worked together back in the 90s when things were much different in college football, to say the least. What are some of your favorite memories of Coach Bowden?
I'll tell you more than anything, I think those 7 years, just being able to work with both Coach Bowden and Coach Martin. Baseball was my primary sport, and then I was an assistant for football, and just the great memories over the years of everything. And then particularly with Coach Bowden, just how funny that man was.
Well, I'm Mark Martin, too. Can you think of two bigger characters than those two guys?
I'll tell you.
Talk about personalities.
I'll tell you one story. It was 1984. It was just after Florida State baseball season where, frankly, they weren't very good that year. I believe they went 0-2 in a regional, even though they were hosting. And I think even though Coach Martin won 50 games that year, the final record was like 54-24, 27, and just not a very good year. About a month later, we're playing golf out at Killarn Country Club with Wayne Hogan. Yeah. I forget who the fourth was, but Coach Martin hits this ball underneath a tree, and he has about 212 yards to the green, and there's an overhanging branch, and there's a sand trap in front of the green, and he just kind of looks at Hogan, and he goes, if I get up and down from here, I'm going to leave town. And Wayne looks at him deadpans and just says, another year like the one you just had, and we might not have to worry about that. But, I mean, just the fact that
how many dadgummits did you hear over those years?
Oh, my goodness. But between those two guys, like I said, just legendary coaches, legendary wins, but yet at the same time, family was so important to all of them. And that just really meant a whole lot. I mean, I don't know how many times Coach Martin, if we had if we were playing Tulane or LSU on the road for the weekend, I'd go, why don't you bring your wife along? She can ride on the bus with us. And I just, that stuff was so important to him. And again, even though it's, 30, 40 years down the road, I'm that far removed from this place, those memories still flood back.
Yeah. And FSU baseball, right in the thick of it here. They won last night, 7-2?
Exactly. I almost wanted to sneak away and see if I could catch the last couple innings of that game.
Yeah, the atmosphere that they've created over there, and Link Jarrett, the new head coach, has just been unbelievable. And they got so many kids from Tampa. The whole damn starting rotation is from Tampa Jesuit. So we're very proud of this team, the folks in Tampa, and looking forward to them moving on in the regionals, which I guess they're not going to host. I guess they got to go out to Oregon State.
It was kind of tough because I was kind of looking at the way they had that system set up, and they put the 8 and 9 seed in the same bracket, so the winners of those two regionals face each other. But yet you would think because the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed, and I think the number 5 seed have already lost.
Right.
You would think they would reseed it so that if you were seeded 8th, you would have a chance.
Seems reasonable.
To host, but instead you're going to have teams that are going to be ranked lower than them hosting regionals.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the college football playoff, which didn't make sense either. But so it goes. Well, Dan, thanks for dropping by, man. Appreciate it. How's it going in there?
I'll tell you what.
I heard a lot of yucking.
Again, it's just bringing back memories of everybody telling Coach Bowden stories, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, partner. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my man.
We'll see you on the golf course in Orlando.
I hope so.
Yeah, many great memories from the coaches here. I mean, you imagine Coach Bowden and Mike Moore. I'll tell you a really quick Mike Martin, Coach Bowden story. So Coach Martin was an avid golfer, and Coach Bowden used to get invited to Augusta all the time to play. And Coach Bowden would always say to Coach Martin, listen, buddy, if you ever need anything, you just let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. And of course, they had, they worked together with multiple players. Deion Sanders played both baseball and football. Jameis Winston went with obviously Jimbo Fisher down the line. So they used to work together. And can you imagine like coaches working together for players to play separate same sport? So anyway, Coach Martin was like, hey, Bobby, you don't think there's any way that you can get me on Augusta National? I said, so I have a friend. He said, if you would do a speaking engagement, that I could, he'd find a way to get me on Augusta National. So Bobby said, sure, Mike, I'll do that for you. Absolutely. No problem. Just tell me when and where, and we'll take care of it. So, and Mike's like, oh my God, I'm going to finally get to play. And I may not be remembering the details perfectly here, but anyway. So about 2 weeks before Mike is supposed to go up and play Augusta, they play a prank on him. And they have Coach Bowden call him on the phone. And I'm doing local TV at the time, so I was in on it. And I was acting like I brought my camera in, and we were doing an interview with Mike about an upcoming series. So we had the cameras rolling. When he took the phone call, he's like, oh, I got to take this. I said, all right, yeah, we'll shut down the interview here for a second. So he picks up the phone, and it's Bobby on the other line. He says, Mike, I'm sorry, I have a conflict in my schedule. I won't be able to do that speaking engagement. And Mike's like, oh, crap. Now I'm not going to be able to play this. And he's like, all right, Coach, I understand. All right, no problem. And he hangs up the phone. And he's just like crestfallen. He's just like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. And the phone rings. Bobby calls him back. And he's like, April Fools, Mike, April Fools. I'm going. I'll be there. Don't worry about it. He's that was a moment for Coach Martin and Coach Bowden. But they were like that. They were constant jokesters, but two great guys that were absolute icons of their sport and their coaching. Funny stuff. All right, let's get back to talking a little bit more about the Rays and Junior Caminero. Your thoughts on this weekend and what you saw from Junior?
I mean, it's breathtaking stuff. I mean, we already mentioned the 13 RBIs and 18 at bats and everything that he's doing from a power perspective. He's up to 13 home runs this year, 37 RBIs. The average is like pushing 270 now. Like all of a sudden you look at his numbers, it's like, this is what it feels like to have a franchise player. I think the Rays have had a lot of good players throughout their franchise history. They've had one true, what I would call like the top level difference maker type of guy for an extended period of time, and that was Evan Longoria.
Yep.
And, we all know that it should have been Wander was next in line, but, didn't work out. Now you have Junior Caminero, and it's like he's 21 years old. 21 years old, and we've talked about it this year a lot. He's being tasked with some of the impossible of being the guy in this lineup. And now that you see he's starting to get some help around him, it is just helping his game tremendously. And I think if he just narrows down some of the swing mechanics, we talked about how it felt like he was changing the stance a lot a couple weeks ago when he was sort of struggling. Something flipped on this past homestand at Steinbrenner Field, the place where the Rays finally learned how to win baseball games with that 7-2 homestand they had going into Houston. It's like, this is what a franchise player looks like. It feels different. It's must watch every time he's at the plate. Is he an elite defender? No. He's probably, average, or, I know some people will probably say maybe he's below average, but at the plate right now, he's as dialed in as you could possibly get. I think he's put himself in the all-star conversation. There's no doubt about it. And this is a guy who the Rays, it's been a very popular thing, and the Rays had done it with Wander, and other teams have done it as well. It's like, get this guy signed long-term now. Get him signed long-term now for a deal that you can manage to where you're not going to have to overpay for what you're not comfortable doing later. So I think it has to come down the pike at some point. But yeah, he's must-watch television for this team, and he's a big reason why they've clawed their way back into the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I think there was a story that he reunited with his hitting coach in the Dominican Republic, and they just fixed a couple of his mechanics. It's amazing how that can help a player, and then he gets the confidence going. And I think also the thickening of this lineup has helped him out tremendously, because I think he's seeing a lot more hittable pitches because he's a little bit more protected in the lineup now.
They had 4. I couldn't believe this. Brian Anderson said this on the broadcast yesterday, that they had 4 games this week where everybody in the lineup had at least one hit. And
that's crazy.
If you go to that 16-3 game, they had every player in the starting lineup have a hit that was over 100 miles per hour off the bat. Like, that is like so like hard to do. And I don't even know if the Rays have ever done that before, to be honest with you. Probably not. But it's just a sign that, yeah, they got shut down by Framber Valdez, and Framber Valdez has been shutting down, a lot of offenses lately. Yesterday was a little disappointing because, last time they faced Hunter Brown, who's been an all-star caliber pitcher, Cy Young type guy for the Astros this year. Last time they faced him a couple weeks ago at Steinbrenner, they got to him. And
3 home runs.
In yesterday's game, he was fighting his stuff, man. And Brian Anderson was pointing it out that he was just not locating his pitches, but unfortunately the Rays just could not make him pay, and eventually he settled in, and it turned into a 1-0 baseball game. It's unfortunate that Taj Bradley's start, he had to get the L for that, because I think that I think that was the best Taj has looked with the Rays. I think the command that he had on his pitches, but yeah, the offense is starting to come around. I think if you look at run differential, only 3 teams in the American League have a higher run differential than the Tampa Bay Rays today, which is pretty crazy to think about. And they end the month of May, and only the Yankees and Tigers had a better record than them. So, I mean, everything is on the up and up right now. I'd like to see them try to get a little bit of some breathing room away from the 500 mark, because I think they're a game over right now. But considering where they were, and I think at one point, 20 and 26, I mean, you really can't ask for much than what they've given you over the last month. No,
I agree. Let's get to some of the comments here. Mike Gates says, glad to see the Rays offense break out. Fun to watch. Taylor Walls lost his mind yesterday. I don't know if he had that in him. In that situation.
Never seen a player get that pissed. I haven't.
That was that was dramatic. Good thing they held him back. I'm going to call Jerry Kutz over here from the Osceola. We're going to talk a little bit more FSU football. Come on over here, Jerry. How are you, my friend?
Doing good.
Good. How's it going in there? A lot of yucking I'm hearing.
A lot of storytelling about Coach Bowden and about the relationship all the writers had when Coach Bowden was here.
People won't believe this, but I was working at a local TV station. We would, and Sue Hall, it was right there, the most lovely Sue Hall, who got us all interviews with Coach Bowden. You'd just call her up and you'd say, hey, can I get Coach for 15 minutes today, 10 minutes? Sure, honey. Sure. Come on down. We'll take care of it. And literally you go down there, whatever it was, and you had to sit down with it. The one time they're during the Free Shoes University scandal there, it broke on a Friday night, and I literally called his house, Coach Bowden's house, and said, can I come over and do a quick chat with you? He said, sure, come on over. Can you imagine any coach?
It's so funny. I mean, I can recite his phone number even today. I dialed it so many times.
Is this still in the phone book? Do we still have phone books?
It was in the phone book at one time, but I have it committed to memory.
Yeah.
So, but it was awesome. And that's what we were talking about. Nowadays, there's a schedule, and these teams stick strictly to the schedule. You get to interview the whole pack of reporters interviews one player. Right. You can't really get into any kind of a depth of conversation.
No.
I mean, if you put a coach up there, and you've got a real challenging question for the coach, you put him on the spot, and you wind up getting coach speak back.
Right. Exactly. And you can't follow up because you got 25 other people. Right.
And in the old days, what was so great here covering this beat for all those years was, remember, after practice, when they came off the practice field, there were no rules.
Nope.
You could grab Mickey Andrews and say, Coach, I got a tough question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
And, it's just you and him.
Yeah.
And he would usually laugh and tell you.
Yeah.
Or get mad and tell you. Or take you off the record.
Yeah.
But you learn something. And
so these days, and you're still covering the team now, you can't. You're at an arm's length, right? You can't get to the players. You can't get.
Well, they give us the players in a group environment,
right?
And so it's really hard to get into any kind of depth with a player.
Yeah, and there's nothing against the sports information that's just the way things are now because they have to so tightly control what's being said, because one thing taken out of context can just blow up into especially with social media these days, because there's a lack of, back in the day, there was a lot of journalistic ethics that we would follow. And we'd if a kid misspoke about something, we wouldn't run to Twitter or someplace and go, oh, we got to get this on the air. We'd go, we tell Rob or Wayne Hogan, the SID, he said this, and you might want to tell him that's not. And that was okay. Yeah. That was okay. And we trusted each other and we had these relationships.
Right.
And now it's just not that way.
It's different.
No.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the internet. And there's,
got to go get my clicks.
I saw a commercial on TV the other day during the College World, the baseball
regional,
about, don't abuse the players. If you're
this is going on all the time now.
Yeah.
If the team loses, people are jumping on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
And just going after the kid.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, really?
Let me ask you this real quick. Just before I'm going to ask you about this FSU team as well, this football team, because you didn't get to see a lot during spring, I understand, but you have knowledge. The 14 years of the top five, if you can encapsulate why they were so successful in that time, what would you point to the main reasons why they were so consistently successful? I mean, obviously it starts with Coach Bowden.
Of course, it starts with Coach Bowden because he was able to keep a staff together for a lot of years.
Yes.
Continuity.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, Coach Bowden's program was so mature that they were able to, there was never a surprise. Like on Tuesday, you knew that was going to be full pads, full contact,
right?
Blood and guts.
Yeah, good on good.
Yeah, and Coach Bowden behind the pulpit was a wonderful Christian and a wonderful walking Christian, but on Tuesday and Wednesday he was Woody Hayes.
Yeah.
And the players didn't ever come to practice thinking on Tuesday that we may get it easy today.
No, they
knew it's going to be consistent. Let me just add to that. Our off-season conditioning program, what they called mat drills.
The mat drills,
that built teams. And I think what really when this program under the Bowden era unraveled some, I mean, it ended.
Yep.
Was when Devon Darling died.
I agree.
I mean, the coaches,
During mat drills, for those who don't remember, he had a heart defect, and these mat drills are just they're designed to push you to the ultimate limit. And
they're just purely aerobic.
Right.
They're not. There's no wrestling like in the old days. It's just aerobics. But yes,
and push you to the limit. And this, it was unfortunate, obviously, but it just, his heart failed. But that was the end of mat drills.
Yeah,
that was the end of mat drills.
At that point, up till that point, players were willing to run through a wall.
Yeah, yeah.
There became a warning track.
Yeah.
Coaches, there was only one coach on that staff that had ever had a player die.
Yeah.
And none of the other coaches, the older coaches, had ever seen a player die.
Yeah.
Well, they pulled back.
Yeah.
The coaches pulled back.
It's only natural.
It's natural. And I think those mat drills were really the essence of what made teams so united.
Yeah. And tough. Yeah.
And that's the thing about Coach Bowden. So many people don't understand. He was inherently a tough human being.
Yeah. But fair and wonderful, and funny.
But I think you can be those things.
You can. Yeah.
You're tough and you're kind.
Some people would take umbrage with that. One of my favorite Bowden stories is this was after one of the wide rights or wide lefts, one of the tough losses to Miami. Yeah. And you remember during that time that Miami, and has since come out, the whole, what was going on down there with the 2 Live Crew and the whole, all that was going on, all these NCAA violations, all these things that were going on with paying players, et cetera, et cetera. And Coach Bowden, the entire coaching staff knew exactly what was going on because they would lose players to these guys,
Exactly.
And, but never talked about it publicly.
No.
Never talked about it publicly. And would have to sit there and endure these heartbreaking losses time after time after time. And it was one of these moments where he just, I was like, Coach was not in a good mood this particular day, which was rare. And I was sitting down with him one-on-one, and I was like, Coach, you okay? And he's like, dadgummit. And he went off for about 3 or 4 minutes just talking about all the crap that was going on down there. And he can't say anything about it. He would never say anything publicly about it. It's one of the only times I'd ever saw him like really kind of break down. And not, he wasn't crying or anything, but he was frustrated. He was just really, really frustrated. Dadgummit, they've been doing this stuff and they've been doing it. We can't do anything. And we're losing players, and the players that are making these plays, you come to Florida State, but they were like, wow.
He did that one time.
Did you ever hear him?
Yeah. One time, and it was in public, but it was. I'll tell you what it was. The Osceola used to do what we called recruiting roundup, and after on National Signing Day, Coach Bowden and the coaches would actually come to a restaurant, and we would invite in our readers we would break down the recruits for the and that was an Osceola event. We would get 200 to 300 people in there. And on this one particular day, it was Bill McGrath who was there from the Democrats, Steve Ellis from the Osceola, myself for the media. And we had lost to Florida like 4 straight years.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him in the crowd, were we ever going to beat Florida again? And that was when Charlie Pell was doing his
the 107 NCAA violations.
Yeah. And Bobby said, Bill, put down your pencil. Steve, don't you dare write this. And he said, if a man will fight me a fair fight, I'll beat him half the time.
Yeah.
But he ain't fighting a fair fight.
Yeah.
And, of course, a few months later, the NCAA came in and banned Pell from coaching.
Yeah.
But that was the extent of it with Bowden. He just moved on. You know, he controlled what he could control.
Right. And he got his share of recruits.
Yeah.
The best ever in the living room. And it was so interesting when Bert had him come in and do Evening Shade.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, one of the great sitcoms of the 90s, 80s and 90s. Bert was a high school football coach, and he actually had Bobby come in totally unscripted. Just said, sit down and do your living room thing. Right. And it was like in a freaking TV show, on CBS, right? And of course he just nailed it because it was Bobby being Bobby.
Yeah.
And you said to yourself, wow, he was really good. No wonder he gets these recruits.
Yeah, we got all these sports writers, and everybody's telling these funny stories about Bowden, and most all of them are ad lib moments.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought, man, the guy could be Billy Crystal.
Oh yeah.
His sense of timing and
really super intelligent, man.
Really smart.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this team. I mean, obviously 2-10. You and I were trying to discuss last night and figure out what the hell happened. Nobody knows. I mean, we know, but it's just a confluence of a perfect storm. The year before, everything went right.
Yeah.
Last year, everything went wrong.
Yeah, I've had a couple of theories. One of them was, if you remember after the 2022 season, Travis could go pro.
Yeah.
Right. And he was going to go pro. And with him was going the running back, Benson, Johnny Wilson.
Yep.
A couple other guys. And then
Jared Verse.
Yeah. And Travis decided he was going to come back. And he was the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and there was NIL involved too.
Yep.
We had a influx of NIL. And so they were able to bring back, I think there were 5 guys that decided to stay for the 23 season. And that 23 team had 5 of its own.
Yeah.
So we played that 23 season with 10 guys that were drafted into the NFL.
Yeah.
So not only did you lose a tremendous amount of talent in 23.
They're all your playmakers.
They were your playmakers and they were your leaders.
Yeah.
They were the bell cows.
Leaders.
And that 24 team, one of my favorite quotes of all time in sports is I went to Wayne McDuffie, who was a great
offensive line coach. Yeah.
Toughest guy. He reminded me
of
Clint
son
Eastwood. He was Clint Eastwood. Looked like him, acted like him.
Yeah.
And tough as nails, coach for the Atlanta Falcons, coach for Georgia when they had Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
And he, and then later he coached for Georgia again. But I walked in there, and that team that he was coaching lacked leadership on offense that year, way back. And I went in there and I said that to him. And Wayne never laughed, but he laughed so hard he was crying. It was embarrassing to me to ask a stupid question.
Right.
And he goes, Jerry, don't you know there's never an absence of leaders? In the absence of good leaders, the turds take over. Right?
Now, that's such a Wayne McDuffie thing to say, too, if you do the man.
And so I kept looking last year on this team. I was looking for the bad dudes, the bad leaders, and I never found them.
There were no leaders.
It was
DJ was not a leader.
The closest to no leadership I've ever seen among the players.
Yeah.
It was every day at practice, and we were there 3 days a week. At that time, they allowed us to watch the practices. It was totally a coach-led team.
Yeah.
And anybody who's played sports knows
you can't have that.
You can't go very far with that.
You got to have people on the field that, one of the best I've ever seen do that is the great Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks knew the moment, and he would explain the moment and make the moment to everybody on the field and know, because there's just times in a football game where you got to make a play.
Yep.
And that's the difference between winning and losing, especially in a championship, at a championship level. And because you can't play at that elevated level every single play, it's physically impossible to do it, but you got to know when the moment is. That third down, that key play, you got to have it, and that's what leaders do. And then they go out and make those plays. And there was a complete dearth of leadership on this team, and there was nobody that would step up and make a play.
And you have to have coaches that will allow that.
Yeah. You got to really, if you're a coaching staff, you got to find them, you got to identify them, and make sure everybody knows who they are. And they didn't do that.
Yeah, Jim Gladden was talking about Derek Brooks, to your point.
Yeah.
And they were getting ready to play North Carolina, and that's when they had Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah.
And
the two backs. Yeah.
And it was a top 5 matchup.
Yeah.
And so Tuesday they go out there and they lead the fullback, and the linebackers got to blow him up.
Right.
And Brooks said, Coach, if we do this, Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to be tore up by the game.
Yeah.
And he goes, but if you let me, olay him,
go around him,
I'll make tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And Gladden was smart enough to let a hunting dog hunt, as Gladden would say.
Right.
And Derek was capable of doing it. And when you have a player that can do it, you
got to trust them.
You got to trust them.
You got to trust them.
Mickey used to always say that about, look, Deion's got a lot of God-given ability. The only thing that keep him from making an interception would be me.
Yeah.
If I don't give him permission to go make a big play.
Yeah. Which he did a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this team?
This team, I think, is what I'm hearing.
In case you don't know, this is the first year that Norvell has kept people from going to practice.
Yeah. And this is first time ever in his career. And and the reason he says he's doing it is that we would write accurately. He thought that, there's a lot of drop passes today.
Yeah.
Or the quarterback's inaccurate.
Yeah.
And then the kid would hear it from, his mother, his father, his agent, and, kids in class, what's wrong with you guys? Why aren't you catching the ball? And Mike was like, they don't need to hear it all that much. They need to hear it from me and the other coaches. But when you guys are reporting this every day, they're getting hammered, everywhere they go. So he's trying to, his belief is they're taking some pressure off the players in that respect. But what makes it hard as a reporter is you don't really know exactly what's going on. But let's talk to the positive. We still have access to information and the coaches. And I like the changes that Mike made with bringing in Malzahn in hand.
I do too.
I think they're old school and I'm old school. And I want to see some more blood and guts on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
I want to see, you cannot expect the defense to play, be accurate tacklers on game day if all they do is thud on Tuesday and Wednesday. Right. You have to tackle to the ground at some point.
And I've seen some of those drills that they put on video, and it's ugly. It's ugly.
But see, when a guy gets to the NFL, you can really pull back on fundamentals. Yeah, because they know what they're doing. They're in the NFL. Doing.
Yeah, but at this level, you got to teach.
At this level, you have to teach fun. And to me, I think there's a risk factor in not doing it.
Absolutely.
You get hurt making a tackle.
Absolutely. And you don't make tackles.
And you don't make them. And so I think that what I'm looking for primarily to see what this team is going to be this year is their physicality against Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get to see August practices, I'll get a real good idea. But if I don't, then we're going to find out all together
on August 30th.
Have we regained some of our physicality?
Yeah.
And then leadership. I think Castellanos is a dynamic kid.
He is
both
quarterback.
He's a Florida, a Georgia kid, and he knows a lot of the players on his team already.
Yeah.
And my understanding is he's pretty charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
And see, DJ wasn't.
Yeah.
DJ is.
He's more Jordan Travis than, DJ was not a leader.
No, DJ is a really super good guy.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Yeah. And
that's hard when you come in as a transfer and try to win a team over in a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's a bad combination.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think he was dinged.
Yeah, I do too.
His
I don't think he
wasn't there.
Yeah. The mobility we saw many other years was just not there. And behind a terrible offensive line. It's a very bad combination. So that is Castellano, new offense under Malzahn, who is a proven offensive coordinator guy, especially when he's got a great running quarterback. And this kid is special when it comes to the run. Florida State couldn't stop him. Right. How many times did they play him? 2 or 3 times?
Twice.
Yeah, and they couldn't stop him. And
that 23 team couldn't stop him.
No. That was pretty good defense too. Now he's a gifted runner. Maybe not the greatest passer, but maybe good enough. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. Any other thoughts on this team this year?
Well, I think I'm a defensive guy, so I don't even like offense, to be honest with you. My whole career,
you like the new defense coordinator, Tony White.
Yeah, he's a super good guy. When you meet him, he's very he's gregarious.
Yeah.
And he has a good background, and I don't know anything about a 3-5 defense. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
But it does give you everything I've studied. It lets your players to make plays.
Yeah.
You can blitz from a lot of different positions. You can change. It's a flexible defense, so you can walk into a 4-3 if you want to, or 4-2, whatever you want. But I'm very curious to see what Tony says is he's got athletes. He's got defensive backs and linemen that can run, and so he's excited about it. And I don't think it's coach speak. I think he truly, at Nebraska, he probably didn't have the talent.
No, not like he has here. No. And those are really good defenses,
right?
Against some pretty good offenses too. So,
sure, yeah.
Looking forward to it. Jerry, tell everybody how they can get your content. By the way,
the Osceola. You can find us at theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com.
All right, partner. Thank you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
So fun to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Jerry Cutts from the Osceola. That, you guys see Pat Burnham all the time. That's his boss. That's Pat's boss. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. Rob Higgins is going to join us, by the way, from the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. He's going to join us at 11:30. We'll find out all the new things going on with him. Plus, we are celebrating him personally. Not only the fact that he just beat cancer, but he is going into the Florida Sports Club Hall of Fame, Tampa Sports Club, the Tampa Bay Hall of Fame Wednesday night.
I got news on a different Hall of Fame, by the way, that I can reveal after the break.
Okay, let's do that.
Maybe right, some news you probably didn't see coming.
Yeah. Oh, good. Cool. All right, we'll take a quick break. We're coming to you live from Tallahassee at our 90s media reunion. That's why I'm here enjoying a lot of the glory days. Florida State. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, big FSU boosters. So this segment brought to you by Italiano. And get that insurance checkup, folks. Get your business insurance, get your flood insurance, get your homeowner insurance. Have them shop it all around, get you the best price, save you thousands, hundreds of dollars. So Italiano, 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldanddiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, coming to you live from Florida State University, Campus Stadium, right behind Florida Stadium later on today. So I'll give you some great pictures to bring to you on our social media. I want to remind you that the Golden Diamond Source in June will be celebrating with offering 15% off the June birthstone, which is pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them perfect for any summer occasion. And right now, enjoy 5 years interest-free financing. You can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with zero interest over 5 years. So shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones, including pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. So head on over and make this summer unforgettable at the Gold and Diamond Source. They got a great men's section there, by the way. If you're looking for a beautiful watch or a chain or some type of bracelet, whatever you're looking for, they have great stuff for you guys as well. So head on over to the Gold and Diamond Source. Get you something nice for Father's Day. How about that? All right. You have some exciting news for us. I think I know what it is.
Yes, Jim Leavitt is going into the USF Hall of Fame class of 2025. They just made the announcement. He's one of 5 members going in, and the other notable one is Amir Abdur-Rahim. So 2 of the great coaches in the history of USF rightfully going into the Athletics Hall of Fame.
Well, that's great. And, they brought Jim back to an event, I think a couple of years ago when they first started the Hall of Fame and kind of brought him back into the fold. For those of you who don't know, longtime football coach here, started the program, was incredibly successful, took it to number 2 in the nation, beat Auburn at Auburn. And then there was a mishap, a misslap, you might say, allegedly. And there was a lawsuit. It got ugly between USF and Jim Leavitt. USF lost that lawsuit, by the way. So he got a settlement, blah, blah, blah. So there was, kind of some bad blood for many years. But now they have rectified that with the new leadership over there, brought him back into the fold, and now rightly making him a Hall of Fame member, because you cannot talk about USF athletics without talking about the great Jim Leavitt. So. Yeah,
time heals all wounds. And what is this, 15 years after the incident that he goes into the Hall of Fame. So that's good to see. It's been a year of healing wounds and recognizing some great coaches / players in the Tampa Bay community. When you look at John Gruden and the Bucks and them being back on good terms, and Gruden going back in the Ring of Honor, obviously Longoria getting his retirement and then going into the Hall of Fame, I believe, next year. And of course, everything that's going on with the sports club of Tampa Bay that you're going to be hosting here pretty soon.
That'll be Wednesday night, and Rob Higgins is going to join us here in a little bit, and we'll celebrate him and him being named to the Hall of Fame. All right, let's get to some of the comments. Daniel Rivera, good morning to you, says, good morning, gentlemen. Give Neander a real owner here in Tampa Bay and watch him really be aggressive. Yeah, I was mentioning that. It's, the Morrell thing, he had to go try to find a slugger. They wanted to make room for Caminero, so let's go find an outfield slugger, but you can't add any significant payroll. So you're the pool of people that you're trying to get is very small. So if you say, hey, go find us a slugger and we'll trade, Paredes, imagine who you could have got in terms of an outfield slugger if you were willing to add payroll. But of course, with Stu, that's not going to happen. So I think you have to give Neander a little bit of a pass here. But the problem is, don't let the mistake linger, right? Just if you've got a player in Chandler Simpson who's hot and playing well, and you just can't say that Morel is a better player. He's not, and he's certainly not going to help you win games now, as Chandler Simpson certainly is. So that's it. Bottom line. If you're trying to rehab or trade Morel, trying to make him look better, give him some opportunities, it's not going to happen. He's not going to turn this around. So you're just delaying the inevitable of getting rid of him. You're not going to get anything for him. So I don't know. I think you just cut bait and move on. All right. What else we got here? Danny Sledge, intern Danny says outfield should be Chandler, Johnny DeLuca, and Josh Lowe. Well, DeLuca's got to get healthy, number one. But when he does, I would like to see that. But Meisner and Mangum have talent, and you don't want to stunt that either. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, DeLuca had gotten off to a really hot start before the season started. Remember, before the injury, rather. So I have to think, like, once he's healthy, he probably does slot into a starter role. Obviously, Josh Lowe is going to start, but as I sort of mentioned earlier, I just don't know how far down the pecking order Chandler Simpson is right now, because clearly they want him to get his work out some of his kinks in AAA, and that's going to take some time. I don't think this is going to be an immediate thing. Injuries can always pop up like they have this year. It's not necessarily a bad thing that, the Rays have run through like 8 or 9 outfielders this year, and every single one of them, not named Christopher Morel, has come up and given you something. Like even Travis Jankowski, when he had to play, was doing things at the plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Like I'm talking about all the good things Meisner doing and Magnum and Travis Jankowski. Like I just can't find you one thing that Christopher Morel has done solid this year. And it's crazy that he just continues to get a pass. But listen, Taylor Wall's gotten a pass at the plate for 4 years. Curtis Mead continues to get a pass at the plate. So I don't know what to tell you there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Curtis Mead, that's another one. Mangum had 2 big-time catches out there in center and hit his first MLB home run. Mike H says, "Yeah, that was cool with his family there. That was a nice moment."
Did not realize that his father played in the NFL, and I think he played his last game at Raymond James Stadium. In fact,
yeah, how about that?
Did not realize that. Great story.
Robert Williams says, "Is the Twins' slow sale affecting the Rays sale?" I think it shows you that what the teams are worth. Like the Twins, have a beautiful downtown ballpark. They've drawn extremely well. Not so much lately. They've gone into debt. I believe they have about $400,000 debt on the team. I don't think there's nearly that much on the Rays, if at all. Shouldn't be. He's been taking profits out for so long. So I think the fact that, and that's looking at about a $1.7 billion sales price. And I think that team is, obviously with the stadium more valuable than the Rays are, and with their fan base. So if Stu is looking for $2 billion reportedly, and that's what I've heard, and it's valued at 1.4 and is being offered 1.8, you would think that you could get a deal done. But when you're dealing with Stu, it's a totally different deal. Rick says Stu is saving the dugout water for future use. He may sell it to FEMA. They missed their opportunity this week. A lot of fans show up. You could have sold them some dugout water. Mike H says MLB is slow walking Stu out of the picture. I believe that to be true. Douglas Batista, thanks again, by the way, for your kind and generous donation to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate that. Says, I was at the pre-construction sale. It was a nice event, nice idea for the fans, but there was no one checking fans before they left the shopping area. So greedy, people took advantage. It was a shame. Well, again, I mean, should that come as a shock if you don't control people, how much they can take, that they're going to take a hell of a lot more than they're allowed to?
Is it kind of interesting to you at all that there were that many people that showed up and waited in line and not great weather for that? But
I think it just goes to show. I think it just goes to show how great these fans are. I mean, people want to dog the Rays, and they don't have a fan base. It's nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. There's so much. I mean, we talk about it and we chat about the Rays, and the numbers go through the roof. The TV numbers are through the roof. You've seen what I think is a great response from the fans in Tampa at Steinbrenner Field. There's a huge interest in baseball. Imagine what would happen if we actually did it right. if we had an ownership group that the fans were supportive of and eager to support, and in a centrally located stadium, well, we don't need to know what it would look like. It would look like the Lightning and the Bucks. That's exactly what it would look like, and that's pretty damn good. It wouldn't look like it looks like right now, and that's a shame. And that's what I always, when Orlando people come at me all the time about what the attendance and Rays fans, and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You just have to have covered this team and lived in this area and gone through what we've gone through with all these different stadium machinations, and it's been dreadful. And the fans are tired. They have stew fatigue, and I don't blame them. And it needs a fresh start. It needs a reset, and I think that's coming soon. So with that, let's welcome in our good friend Rob Higgins from the Tampa Bay Sports Commission and the newly minted Hall of Famer for the Sports Club of Tampa Bay, and you will be going in on Wednesday night. Congratulations, Rob. But I must apologize. You cannot host the event. That is mine to do. You just have to accept your award and give us a great speech. Congratulations. How are you?
Doing great. No better MC than you, my friend. So
I think that would be you. That would be you.
It'll be fun.
We're not going to have some. You do such a great job with the sneaker soiree and the amazing themes that you come up with. So we're not going to have that, but we're going to have a great class going in, and you're going to be part of it. How does it feel to be going in with Evan Longoria and John Cooper and Dick Vitale and Tony Dungy and Dominic Sayo and Terry Rupp, all the whole group?
Yeah, I mean, it really is a special group. First off, I much prefer to be giving out awards than getting them. So I'm a little uncomfortable from that standpoint. It's kind of like an SAT question, which is the one person that doesn't fit in this group. I feel like it's me.
No, that's not true.
It really is such I look up and down that list of inductees, and they've all done so much for our community. Many of them on the field, but also off the field as well. So that makes it special, but even more so just knowing the history of the sports club of Tampa Bay. Like, I think back to the early days with the Levy brothers and Tom McEwen and Monsignor Higgins and all those folks that really helped lay the groundwork for our community and for Team Tampa Bay. They did a lot of amazing things from an infrastructure standpoint and getting the franchises here and building facilities and all of those things. But more so what they did in terms of creating the spirit around our hometown, which is truly unmatched. And that's, to me, what makes Wednesday night so special, and what really gives me chills that my name would even be associated with any of it.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the history of it, because you are kind of the connection to the history to what's going on now. You've taken that foundation and put together these great bids to get Super Bowls and national championship games. So that's why you're such an important part of this piece and your team there. It's great to have a history, but if you don't do anything with it and build upon it, it kind of fades away, and you've done that. And I think this is why you're being recognized and your team's being recognized, because you've built on that with all these great events that you've brought here. I mean, you have to be, I know you're a very humble man, but you have to be very accepting of that. Correct? I mean, this is what this is about.
You said it best. It's our team. I mean, our team and our community partners and the franchises and everybody has played such an integral role in making all of this happen. And no offense to any of our competitors, but when an event goes to another city, I think a lot of the organizations and individuals there are saying, hey, what's in it for me? How are we going to capitalize off of this event? It's the exact opposite here. And it's because of the spirit or mentality that our community has. When we're bidding on an event, everybody's calling us to say, what can we do to help get it here? When we are awarded an event, everybody's saying, what can we do to help raise the bar? I mean, we just came off our 4th NCAA Women's Final Four, which is a record, and the different experience that was able to be created here for a 4th time. Every single one of those Women's Final Four has been totally different. And the reason why that's able to happen is not only because our community is transformed, but because we have so many great partners saying, okay, have we thought about doing this? If we did that, would it raise the bar? how can we make things different for whether it's the teams that have been here multiple times to the fans and everybody in between. So I think it's that spirit of collaboration, which has really helped pay huge dividends for our hometown.
From Super Bowls to Final Fours to Frozen Fours and everything else you've done, is there one event or one effort that you guys made that kind of epitomizes what Tampa Bay is all about, coming together to produce these incredible events?
I think they've all they're all really unique, and I would never pick my favorite kid in terms of between Laney and Landon. They're both really special. Now, depending on the day, I may give you a different answer, depending on what's happened that day. But I'll tell you, every event has a story. I mean, I look back and so many have been so surreal. I mean, Frozen 4, for example, we bid on that one, and in 2005, it had never in the event's 63-year history, it had never been to the southeastern part of the country. And now to think that we've had 3 between 2012, 2016, and 2023. You look at Super Bowl, nobody gave us a chance going into the room for 2019, 2020, and 2021. And we presented a really compelling case, and we didn't end up getting it. But then all of a sudden, we were the one city that went in there. And even though we knew it was a long shot, and we told our story when, quite frankly, again, nobody gave us a chance. And then all of a sudden, the LA Stadium construction fell behind. And we were awarded the event on short notice because we could step in and we had presented that case. And then you think we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Tom Brady becomes our quarterback. We planned an entire Super Bowl in our boxers at our kitchen table on Zoom. I mean, like every one of those I could go through. Every one of them has a really unique story, and we're just really proud of every single one of these events.
Well, it's been a big year for you, Rob Higgins, joining us here from the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. You beat cancer. Like, I mean, getting a Super Bowl is pretty cool, but that's pretty good too. What was that journey like?
Encourage, talk about surreal. It definitely was one of those things. I just thought I was going in for routine colonoscopy. Everybody says, oh, the prep's the hardest part. And I believe that. And then all of a sudden you wake up surrounded by doctors and they share the words that you never want to hear. It certainly, I think it's probably harder on family than it is for on the person themselves, but just how everybody has been so supportive as part of it. I would be remiss in not passing along the opportunity to all your listeners in terms of making sure you stay on top of your health screenings. I think everybody has this feeling of being invincible until you're not. And now I can't even imagine feeling invincible anymore. And, we stay so busy with these events that it's really easy to put off going to see the doctor. And I was really dumb related to that. So I just try to use it as an opportunity or platform to be able to share with you that you got to stay on top of visiting the doctor and checkups and colonoscopies and all those things that are really easy to put off because when you start to put them off, that's when it can come back to haunt you like it did for me. But all in all, feeling really well now in a regular screening pattern in terms of scans and whatnot, and hope to be able to stay on the right side of the equation. That's for sure.
Rob Higgins joining us here, Tampa Bay Sports Commission. So what do we got coming up? The national championship game. I saw some reports on that. Is that a done deal? Or is that conditional on?
We continue to have great conversations. I would qualify it that we're in the red zone in terms of continuing to work with the college football playoff. I think we're hopeful. That's an event that we loved hosting back in 2017, and we've done anything and everything we can over these last 8 years to be able to try to get it back. So we're really passionate about trying to make that happen. It's not done yet, but we want to work towards that end goal. And
was that 29?
20. We're in communication on 2029, but certainly again, we just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to try to get it back. Now, in terms of the immediate future, an event that we've been working on for the last decade is the Stadium Series. We're fortunate to have announced here just a handful of months ago. It's been a long time coming. Really, hats off to Mr. Vennick and Steve Griggs and the entire Lightning organization. That's been one that's, like I said, been years in the making. It's going to be a phenomenal event. What's more Team Tampa Bay than the Tampa Bay Lightning playing in the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and USF Bulls? They're right across the street from where the Rays are playing this season. It's going to be a special day come February 1st of Gasparilla weekend next year. And then only a month after that is NCAA Men's March Madness. So to have that event coming back, the first and second rounds to Amalie Arena in mid-March is phenomenal. And then just this past Friday, we announced that the American Athletic Conference tournament is going to be coming in 27 and 28. So a lot of different events already on the books and more that we're working to bring here as well.
The other question I get, and I'm sure you do as well, what about Super Bowl again? And what has to be done to Raymond James Stadium to get that done? What can you tell us on that front?
The Super Bowl is such a massive event. You got to do anything and everything you can to position yourself across a variety of fronts, whether it be the building to the hotels to all the different ancillary event venues. You really got to be on top of your game when it comes to anything and everything related to hosting a mega event like the Super Bowl. It certainly starts with the competition venue in Raymond James Stadium. There needs to be improvements in order to be able to host a Super Bowl there again. And I know the conversation is going on with our community leadership in terms of working to make that happen. You certainly heard from the Buccaneers and Joel Glazer in that regard a few months back. And we're just really excited about the opportunity to continue to make sure that all of our facilities are state of the art. I think that's been the strength of being able to recruit these events. I don't remember who's the person that said the quote, but the minute you stop showering is the minute you start to stink. So we got to make sure that our facilities are on top of its game, or we're not going to be able to get these events. I think our community understands you can't take these for granted, and you've got to make sure you continue to reinvest. You look at Raymond James Stadium and the fact that it's now had 3 Super Bowls. I've said this before, and people, immediately, like, the shock and awe of the statement, people look at me kind of funny, but the return on investment when it comes to Raymond James Stadium may be the greatest investment in the history of sports facilities. I mean, the fact that 150 million going in, or 140, another 150 since then. So $300 million to host 3 Super Bowls, a college football national championship. The number of concerts that roll through there is incredible. I mean, there's several billion-dollar facilities that haven't seen a fraction of what we've gotten here. So I think our folks understand that and are going to do anything and everything they can to position it as best as we can, for sure.
Oh, imagine if we had a baseball stadium right next door and a sliding roof. And then imagine the events you could put in that.
It wouldn't be a JP interview if you didn't try to bait me into saying something I shouldn't. So I'm just going to say I love our partners at the Rays. It's been a fantastic experience there this season. Got a chance.
It has been fun. Have you been to watch the games?
A first pitch.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. I think I tore my lat based off of it. I promise I'm not that unathletic, but I feel like I pulled something in that regard. But it was a strike. It was a strike.
Got to warm up better, bro. You got to warm up better. Yeah, I see how you just slid into that deflection too. You're so good.
Yeah. The tap dancing began.
Well, listen, Rob, thank you so much, man, for joining us. I look forward to introducing you Wednesday night. I'll have a zinger or 2 for you. Don't worry. That's coming. That's
in all seriousness, I appreciate all of your support of Team Tampa Bay over the years. Nobody better to help be a part of that induction on Wednesday.
I really appreciate it. That's humbling.
It's going to be a special night for sure.
I'm trying to. How do I work colonoscopy into Hall of Fame? I don't know.
I tell you what, nobody thinks about crap like when they think about me. Then that's going to be your connection.
I'll figure out something. It's right in my wheelhouse, right there. All right, Rob. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, and congratulations once again.
Thank you, JP. See you Wednesday night.
All right, see you Wednesday night. Oh gosh, that's fun. That's going to be fun. It'll be a fun time. By the way, we apologize. We're sold out. I know a lot of people want to go to the event on Wednesday night, but unfortunately, we are sold out, tight sellout. But you can still become a member of the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. SportsClubOfTampaBay.org is where you go. It takes $100, and you can enjoy all the great events that we do all year long. We have great speakers coming in once a month at Palmacia. We do great events. We had Brian Ford in last month, and he did a great presentation of all the great stuff coming up, and gave us a little sneak peek into the schedule. That was fun. So we do that all the time. So become a member, and then you're in for next year's Hall of Fame. But this is going to be a really special night. Super looking forward to it. It's going to be a ton of fun. All right, let's take a quick break. We got one more break. I'm going to come back and finish up with all the comments coming in here, and maybe throw a couple of things out there about the new Rays Stadium that is coming. Maybe right next to Ray J with a sliding roof. Who knows? I was just sent a story that I'm very interested in. So you got to read this story. We are brought to you by Third Generation Plumbing. Get your AC unit in tip-top shape for the summer. Call Third Generation Plumbing. They'll come out there and service the unit and make sure that you're ready for the hot temperatures that are coming in your AC unit working overtime. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com is the website. Go there. Tell them JP sent you. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com. They offer you AC and anything mechanical around your house. Back in 3 live in Tallahassee.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucks play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Here's where we roll on live from Tallahassee. Florida State University will be getting a inside look at the new construction, the new Campbell Stadium, the new premium seating coming up later today. So keep an eye out on our social media at the JP Peterson Show. And we'll put some pictures up and all kinds of stuff. We'll give you a little tour behind the scenes. How about that? Can't wait. And it will all be ready when the Alabama Crimson Tide come in here and College Game Day. Maybe. How could they not? How could they not?
I mean, that's Coach Corso's call.
How do you as much as ESPN hates Florida State, not even they would make the mistake of. I mean, where else would they go on that?
The only other one is the Texas or.
But that's being taken up by Fox and Big Noon.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time they both share the pregame
true.
stage. Wouldn't be the first time. And then there's also Clemson and LSU, which objectively is a better game than Florida State and Alabama.
That's true.
But there's the tie.
Okay.
The tie to Corso is the only reason why. The tie to Corso is the only reason why this is even a discussion.
Yeah, come on, do the right thing, ESPN, but doubtful. Mike H says, "Is there any news on the Wander trial?" Well, it starts today, and I saw Jeff Passan put out something. The reports out of the Dominican are. The prosecutors believe they have an open and shut case, that their evidence is overwhelming, and that Wander Franco will be doing up to 20 years in jail.
Yeah, it's going to probably take a couple months at least to get through all this, though. But I know if for some whatever happens here, if he is not convicted, I guess the Rays are still on the hook for his salary then.
Yep.
Which is lengthy.
$160 million.
A lot of money.
The new owners might have to pick that up. Daniel Rivera said, went to FSU a few times when we played them, Miami, and I can tell you they have good fans there, especially the older fans. Here's a great vibe at Hauser Stadium. They used that to win their sub-regional.
I was going to say, how about a big weekend for Florida State baseball? Jamie Arnold, 13 strikeouts. And then they win yesterday 5-2. Yep. The Gators cannot say the same. They have been eliminated. And, of course, did you see this stuff with their head coach, Kevin O'Sullivan?
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. He was absolutely eviscerated by the Coastal Carolina coach. Evidently, Sully, as they call him, ripped into.
Yeah, there's video of it out there now. And it's.
Is there?
Yeah, it's video. He's going like full on Taylor Walls at this poor Coastal Carolina rep on the field, all because the game got pushed back an hour, and then Florida lost 11-4.
Wow, that's a bad look.
Yeah,
that guy's got some serious issues, but when you win a natty, you get some rope. Mike H says, "Shout out to Wayne Stats for 50 years in baseball broadcasting. He is the best. He is the best. What an incredible run he has had. Awesome that he has been the guy for us for so long." Rick says, that cloud has a name, Tropical Depression Stew. Not strong enough to do anything, but weak enough to ruin your plans. So true.
I feel right now with this rain shower that's currently hitting my window. That's exactly what it is.
You know what? It was 50 degrees, 58 degrees here this morning in Tallahassee, or yesterday morning. Yeah, it's beautiful here. No, on a June day in Tallahassee. Last night we had a reception out here. overlooking Doak Campbell Stadium. It was beautiful. I mean, it was like in the 70s. It was gorgeous.
Meanwhile, I pulled the double yesterday, playing hockey for 3 hours outside from 8 to 11, and then from noon to 1:30 played a softball championship game. And all in the sun. We did not win the championship, but it'll take second. But point being, it's a lot of time out in the sun and a lot of moving. And even me at 26 years old was pretty beat up after.
Shut up. 26 years old. By the way, congratulations to Jack Caglione. Speaking of Gators baseball, he's being called up to the Royals. Absolutely dominating double and triple A. This kid is going to be something special in the big leagues. We think you never know, but how about having Pete Alonso, home run champion, Major League home run champion, home run derby champion, Kyle Tucker, arguably top 5 player in the game right now, and now Jack Caglione, all coming from the same high school, Plant High School. Are you kidding me? Like, that alumni game would be better than better than a Rockies game. I mean, seriously.
Spread this talent around the state a little bit.
How about get some of it home?
County?
And I'm going to tell you just a quick story. So I can't name names, but we were talking about this weekend, a possible new owner of the Rays, big money, wanting to inquire about the availability of one Kyle Tucker, bringing him home to play baseball here in Tampa Bay. Can you imagine, if you will, the Tampa Bay Rays, new ownership, saying, hey, not only are we buying the team, not only are we building a stadium, a beautiful state-of-the-art stadium in Tampa, but we're also, and this would actually mean something, not the Rays, hey, we were in it on Aaron Judge, not that. We were in it on Freddie Freeman. This is like an actual owner who's going to come out of the gate and say, we're going after Kyle Tucker, who wants to come home and play in Tampa and would love to play and finish his career in a new stadium in Tampa. How about that? That's right, Rays fans. You can have that. That's possible. In fact, it may be happening. Can you imagine? I can. And you know what? After what we've been through, we deserve that. We deserve that. And people are like, oh, really? Like, you know what? Imagine you could have Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker on the same team coming home to play in Tampa. How about that? I would love that.
I wish to have Jack Caglione, but
Caglione. Imagine if we got all 3 of them. Holy shizbang. Mario Christian said, I read somewhere that Franco's looking up to 20 years of convicted. Yep.
Hey, there was a comment there. I think we didn't touch on it, but you had it up there. Someone mentioned Zach Littell.
Oh yeah, Zach Littell.
I did want to make a point.
17 pitches.
Yeah, first complete game since 2021. Ryan Yarbrough. And it was crazy because the way that game started, he did not have good stuff. He was getting hit around quite a bit, and then all of a sudden, I think he went 3 or 4 innings of no hits. The Rays got a big lead, and every inning I was like, okay, surely he's done, right? Surely he's done, right? And Kevin Cash just kept putting him back out there. And I was like, wow, they're rolling with this. And even yesterday, Todd fell over 100 pitches. I was like, wow, 2 days in a row of this. But Zach Littell, man, grinding his way through outings. I mean, leader of this baseball team, no doubt about it as well. And so much made about what the Rays should do with this pitching staff, because Joe Boyle just pitched another 5 innings with no runs, 9 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, given what I'm watching, I don't know if this is radical or not, but I would move Shane Baz to the bullpen because he's got 2 pitches. He's got 2 pitches. Yep. I mean, he keeps throwing that slider and it's getting rocked around like we talked about, and you can't be a starter.
Curve is unhittable.
Yeah,
and the fastball knuckle curve.
Yeah, you can't be a starter with 2 pitches. And if you look at it, after you get past the 3rd inning, that's when he starts to get rocked around a little bit.
Yeah, the 3rd time.
I don't hate the idea. Shane Baz in the bullpen, bring Joe Boyle up.
Can you imagine that, having him as an 8th inning guy and then Fairbanks in the 9th?
Yeah, because I mean, I would have him replace Yesetta.
Montgomery.
No, I'd have replaced Yesetta. Yesetta's stuff is just not there.
Yeah, it's flattened out. It's just he's kind of lost it. Michael LaRue says, I believe they sent Chandler Simpson down because of service time manipulation. He got called up so early because injuries of the Rays would have a full year of control. That's not something that they haven't done. I don't know. I haven't looked at the exact numbers, Michael, but philosophically, absolutely. That's something that they've always done.
I'm sure it played a little bit of a role, but
Not
I
as
think
much
if
lately.
we said if Morrell had an option, he would have gone down.
Yeah, that's true. I think, but the fact that it doesn't matter at this point, he's just not. Do they really think that he's? I mean, keeping him up here. So basically, what you're saying is, we think he's going to catch fire. We think he's going to, at least have some trade value. Seriously, you really think that's going to happen? Or you really think that Simpson needs to go to the minors to work? Like going to the minors to work on your defense when you need to learn the sight lines and the lights and everything else in major league ballparks.
Here's the thing: they obviously want Morrell to keep playing and everything and keep plugging away and everything. But I want the Rays to win games. I don't want Christian Morrell out there while the Rays are trying to make a wild card run. So
sense of urgency,
right?
The guy's a pair of shoes. Rick says we talked about this earlier with Jerry Cutts from the Osceola that covers FSU and been covering for 40 years like me. Players getting upset because of the reporting. Wow, you're getting paid now. You got to take the bad with the good, no back to your safe place and give the money back. It's true. With players getting paid and reporters reporting in practice, they're dropping passes. I
heard that too, and I'm conflicted about how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not good enough to handle that kind of pressure, they're not good enough. You know what I'm saying?
I always felt like from a media perspective, the less access you get, then you have a habit of then, almost assuming or, maybe not giving the most accurate reports on stuff that you can't see. So it's which one do you want?
Mike H says, with this windfall of offense, do we really need a slugger? Come on now, Mike. Come on now. I mean, we're one Brandon Lowe bad night's sleep from losing him. Josh, we're one.
We've made it this far into the season with no issues with Brandon Lowe.
I know, but every day brings another day, right? It's no, we need to keep adding players. Have we caught the Yankees yet? I don't know. Let me check the standings real quick. Are you kidding me? We score 16, have a couple of good games. Did you see Friday night's game? Did you see Sunday's game? You don't think we need more offense? Easy now. Come on. What else? Yes, we mentioned Jim Leavitt going into the 2025 Hall of Fame. Doesn't the Rays TV rankings are among the top? That's right. They sure are. MLB has just invested 20% into a new women's softball league. I think that is a good investment. Absolutely. Rick says, will JP get frosted tips for his 90s reunion? It shouldn't take too long. That's a no. That's a hard no.
I have actually never seen – you never had frosted tips, did you? I have never seen a JP frosted tips.
I had naturally gorgeous flowing blonde hair. I didn't need frosted tips. Are you kidding me?
How's it look now?
What's under the hood?
Let's go ahead and just put that back down and let's.
Not much. I mean, it's not like the old frat days, to be sure. All right, so we're done here. Thank you to Rob Higgins for joining us here. Nick, great job as always. Thank you guys for joining us as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube pages, FanStream Sports Tampa, FanStream Sports Dallas, and also like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify as well. If you ever missed anything, go catch it all as a podcast. We will be back tomorrow. I will be live from here, telling you all about the new stadium, what we see today in the tour, and I believe Scott Reynolds going to join us. DJ Reeves talk a little Bucks football, and we'll do that tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.